music and events of 2022, and maybe whatever else is on her mind. Basilia, welcome.
Thank you, Kalando. Happy New Year to you and to all your listeners.
All
Thanks
right.
for having me.
Right, you so have manners. Yes, Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to you.
Did you tell me Happy New Year? You didn't.
Happy New Year. You cut me off before I could a while ago,
Oh.
Chevy.
So that's your fault, right?
Happy New Year, boss.
Yes. Thank you,
Right?
my
I
darling.
come film Happy New Year and like she's like, I was gonna give it to you.
Give him.
Eh?
I used to give him, but then he put me on hold so quick.
Oh,
but then-
my apologies.
But I think he's also
No
asking me if I told him Happy New Year.
he didn't either.
Can you imagine? Happy New Year, Siobhan.
No, thank you.
I pray that it is a very good new year for you.
Thank you.
Whatever you do, affirmation or resolution.
Affirmations.
Anyway, okay. So Basilia, 2022 was a sort of a mixed bag year, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I think that we are learning better. I mean, we're 3 years into COVID?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that we've learned how to adapt to our season, and I think we are handling things much better in the industry and just overall because it has really become a part of our lives.
Yeah.
And so, while we're still trying to figure out how to navigate certain areas, I think overall we've been doing very, very well.
Okay, so let's look specifically at we can look specifically at like events and music, and then if you have other areas that you think we should look at, you can also introduce that. So
Okay.
the economy opened back up maybe pretty early 2022, and people were like, I'm so over this COVID thing, we must can find a way to keep going on, right? So we were doing the masks for a long time. You had to wear masks everywhere, and then eventually people just kind of stopped wearing the mask. But events were on, lots and lots of people, especially in the secular arena, were having events. What was happening with events? If you were to sum up events 2022 in the gospel arena, from your particular unique vantage point as someone who would be paying attention because there's an award show, you're going to be recognizing people who've done, the very best, or facilitate people voting for who has done the best. So your vantage point is such that you see things that maybe the rest of us don't really see it. How did you see it?
Kalanda, I think I must say that I'm very proud of our gospel music industry and how we've been able to kind of just switch things around, because I remember last year when everything was still on lockdown in terms of having physical events. I remember as soon as, the go-ahead was given for persons to be able to have events, I saw a lot of improvement in terms of our gospel events. Even if they were planning a virtual event, they offered kind of a mixed modality. So persons who would still want to be online, because, people are still afraid to go out. And those who want to be in the physical space, I saw a lot of adjustment where that was concerned. And compared to the previous year, I think last year was a great year for us coming back to quote unquote normal, because I don't think we'll ever be back to full normalcy as we knew pre-COVID.
Right.
So I think that especially for those signature events, I must commend the organizers and those who continue, the promoters who continue to try and figure out how best to service its audience. I was in attendance at several in-person events last year that were still streamed online for the most part. And I think people were just very happy and excited to finally be back outside. And I think those events that we were looking forward to, they were online for probably 2 previous years. And they figured out a way how to just switch it around and have in-person events like the Sterling Gospel Music Awards. All along, we were planning a virtual event for 2022. And then as soon as we heard that, hey, the place are open back, we were like, okay, we got to get with the times. So we are going to switch to a physical event. So I think overall, our industry did very well in terms of executing events, whether in person when it was allowed and online.
If you were to identify something that you thought, okay, this one really worked, and I think if we were to lean more in that direction, we could benefit more from just good experiences in gospel events. Anything stands out?
Anything stands out? I mean, I know that there are events that continue to offer the mixed modality. I
Mhm.
think for the most part, if we can continue to have that as a part of our event, I think it will serve to include a lot of other people, especially those who are living overseas. Because what I realized during COVID, especially for persons in the diaspora who were never really able to attend certain events in Jamaica, of course, because the thought was never really there to stream every single event.
Mhm.
So I think that our diaspora was more included in what we're doing here in Jamaica. Not only our diaspora, but those who love Jamaican gospel music. They felt like, okay, I'm here, I'm a part of it. And so I think as much as possible, if it's possible, because it is still very expensive to
Right. I was
do
gonna
an
get to that.
online, yeah, it's expensive to do online and in person because it's two separate productions. Oh my God, let me tell you. And it costs just about the same, if I'm to be very honest with
Right.
you,
Okay.
in
Well,
terms of all
well,
of that. So,
1 second. Let's do a quick time signal and we pick it up.
Precious moments we share with you, everything's so right. Malta, you're full of life.
The time by Malta is
5:46.
Thank you, folks. At Malta, we're talking with Basilia Banawikoff, the founder and director of Sterling Gospel Music Awards. And we're looking back as we look forward. And we were just talking about events in 2022. And Basilia, you were raising the point, which I wanted to get at, because you're saying, you know, what if we could continue doing the kind of hybrid event or mixed modality,
right.
as you call it. And you were making the point that the diaspora got pulled into more
Yes.
local events in 2022 because of that facility of having both physical and in person. But it can cost a lot of money.
Yes,
To
it
do that.
does. And you know what I said to somebody last year when we were doing Sterling, and you know, a physical event costs so much, and then to add the aspect of doing it online, it's a whole other cost. If it is that persons are able to do both, and I found that when you stream on, say, like YouTube or social media, it doesn't cost you as much as if you're going to charge persons to view online. So the
Right.
pay-per-view costs more than if you just stream on a social media platform.
And then
So-
people can still watch.
Yeah, where people can still watch. So I think we're moving a little away from trying to capitalize on the tickets that we sell online
Mhm.
to more just making sure that we still give our overseas audience, especially, that inclusive feeling of being able
part
to
of
be
the
at
event.
events. And it doesn't mean that you have to stream the entire event, because you know you want people to come. So if they know that it's fully online, then they probably won't come, right?
Right.
So
And
they
then
can
if you
just
make
stay
it
home.
free just on social media, then you don't make any money from your effort.
Then
So-
you don't make any money. So I think streaming parts of events would even suffice.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So streaming and mixed modality type offerings are part of what? Part of the features of events in 2022, and something you
Mhm.
think may continue in 2023 when we kind of figure it out a little bit better.
I think so, but I would not wrong anybody who decides to just go full on just physical event,
Physical.
because I know the production aspect of online is a whole heap. And so if persons are not able to, because it's no longer a must, it's no longer a necessity as it was
Right.
in, say, 2021. So if it's possible, persons can consider keeping that feature. If it's not possible, then we totally understand.
What about the quality of experiences? I don't necessarily go to a lot of events, but that's probably more because I am more introvertish than people
Mhm.
realize. But I always find that the events I do go to, they tend to feel the same.
They do, surprisingly.
They tend to
Feel
feel
the same, meaning every event feels the same?
well, the
Or
flow,
it
the
feels
flow
the
of
same as
them.
before?
Yeah, like the acts are similar. The kind of the
Mhm.
same kind of the the communication from stage between the audience and the MCs, and it
Mhm.
just tends to feel like the same kind of event. Like if I've had this one experience, that like I've had all the experiences. So
Truth be told, Kalando, we are a very small industry,
mhm.
and yes, we tend to have a lot of the same artists on different shows. But I think it is incumbent, especially on our artists, to be able to give a different experience at each show. For example, if you know you have 3 shows in a week, then try and change up the set a little bit, because you may have the same person or same persons at all 3 events. So I think the responsibility and the task really falls on those who are performing to ensure that they continue to offer variety, they continue to show their versatility in delivery, and not just come and sing the same songs in the same order, in the same style that you do at different events. So I don't think it's necessarily the promoters
Right.
who have that task. It's for them to facilitate the whole process.
Yeah.
But for our artists, just to encourage them to just explore different ways of delivery. I've seen artists who have changed their jump up songs to slow songs to acoustic songs, and it works. I think it just boils down to how you are able to have direction in terms, and that's why I think it's very important to have a musical director who is skilled in that area to say, all right, let's just switch this around because we have an event today, we have a next event tomorrow, especially if they're in close proximity to each other.
Right.
You want to ensure that you offer versatility in your delivery. So it's not the promoters.
Well, I'd say it's not the promoters only, because, for example, if we take what you do, where you create a theme, so it's not just, well, I mean, it's an award show, right?
But we still,
right. And I'm thinking the good thing about an award show is that you're always able to create a different focal point, right? You could design something really awesome for the stage, and that becomes a focal point, and then you could introduce some kind of thematic, where you could have musical performances as before people come out
so you can mix the flavors.
Yeah, so
different.
I'm just saying that an award show, which kind of makes you are able to cheat it a little bit, if you could call it that, because in terms of creating variety, because it's an award show, so you can do any amount of things that you want. If you decide to put in a little skit in between, you can do that.
Right.
You have a big act, you could have a band, you can do all sorts of things because it's an award show, right? And you can create a variety of experience. Most times people are like, you're having a concert. People have a particular expectation of a concert. I do think, though, that the promoters could find different things to put within the experiences of the show, so that
Agreed.
I mean, you can take advantage of things such as, I know shows that have lots of big acts would have a lot of band changes. But now you have things like screens and so on that you can utilize videos and all sorts of stuff. I mean, you could do a whole photo thing when people are coming into the venue, and then you dump the photos and people are seeing themselves, and like you could do a whole spot day, whatever.
And you end with fireworks.
Fireworks.
What are you talking about? I get what you're saying.
Right. There are different things. So I'm saying I agree with you that the performers themselves, 100% agree with you. The performers themselves should think about the fact that when you're being booked, you're probably booked for 3 shows, and they're like 1, 2, Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Don't do the same set, because as you said, the market is small. It's possible that if even 2 of the event, one person might end up seeing you twice, because people who love go out, right?
Them just love go out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So concert day, so concert is them are gonna go. So at least think about what kind of experience they're gonna get. But then I'm also saying the promoters, you have to think through what's the experience people are gonna have.
Agreed.
And then put in things. So that can happen. So we talk a little bit about events, and I think we also gave some folks some ideas about the stuff that they can do.
Yes. Send the money to Kalando, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that, agent. She said, please send me the money. All right, so let's talk a little about music. Music, which is a mainstay for us, at least from an entertainment or recreational perspective with gospel, the industry. Music is a big deal. How did music fare in 2022 from your perspective?
Kalando, let me just say, and from a Sterling perspective, let me just say that we are so proud of our up and coming artists. I think COVID has really given them an opportunity, especially through social media, to shine. And by virtue of shining on different social media platforms, they are also able, as long as they have the proper production and mechanisms in place to produce songs and stuff, they are also able to shine on the local scene. And so I think our up and coming artists did very well last year. Yes, we know the established artists who continue to do awesome work, and we commend them, and we give credit where is due. But I really want to just zoom in on those young artists who are coming up. I remember last year when the whole Sterling process was happening, and we were looking at a lot of these up and coming artists who just come and just bust out and just we're just doing so well.
Mm-hmm.
And you see them on shows, you see them on different national platforms, and you're like, wow. So I think, especially for last year, I would really, really commend our young artists, both male and female, who are putting in the work and who are making a mark. So for me, the up and coming artists, that was the highlight for me of 2022.
Okay. And remind the folks who was the upcoming artist named for at Sterling this year.
It was Prince Saz. Yes, Prince Saz was breakout artist.
Prince Saz?
Saj, S-A-J.
Oh, Prince Saj. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and he did very well. I mean, he was even on a national concert for the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport prior to Sterling as well, and just different shows. So him and others, they were doing very well leading up to the end of the year. So, I was saying to somebody that one of the advantages that especially our young artists have, and not only our young artists, but artists overall, is the benefit of being on social media and the potential to go viral.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if you realize, Kalando, but especially in the secular world, a lot of those secular artists who you see on every show and I do well, enough time I want bust on TikTok, them get
I can see it. Yeah.
Listen, and then you see them on the big stages, and when it take off, it take off. And so, I also want to encourage, know that our church folk understand that social media is not of the devil, but prior to, it was of the devil, don't be on social.
Oh, God.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Now that we realize that it can be used for a lot of good, I really want to encourage our artists to upload your sounds on Reels, upload your sounds on your videos on TikTok, 1-minute videos, 30-second videos, on Reels. There are so many ways to somebody just want to hear it, love it, share it, and then 1,000 other people hear it and be like, oh, and then they share it too. And soon you realize it's a trending sound. And then by virtue of your sound being viral, persons normally try and find who the artist is.
Right.
And then from that, it's a whole other ball game. So, social media, we can use it to our advantage. And I would really encourage our artists to just use it and take advantage of all the possibilities that are out there.
Brilliant. What do you think is going to happen in 2023 based on the trend you're seeing? You talk about the young artists really making their mark and coming onto the scene and taking advantage of the new media that can help them. If that trend holds, what do you think we might end up with in 2023?
I am looking forward to seeing just much more happening in terms of production of music. I know a lot of persons were not able to do as they would like because, place just opening back up, you're just really starting to make back a little money. And so that can now go into production. So I think we're just going to see a lot more from our established artists, a lot more from our up-and-coming artists. I expect to see our artists just trying different things because I know that over the years we have become accustomed to a certain way of doing things, but I think COVID has really taught us that, hey, you don't have to do it this way, you can do it another way. So I continue to be very intrigued by how differently persons do things. And so I'm just looking forward to what new is to come and what new spin persons will put on things that are already in existence.
So, are you gonna have an award that looks at viralness on social media? Something that would actually motivate them to do the thing that you've said, where you say, utilize it, put your reels, put your videos. Are you gonna then recognize somebody who or groups of people who are really using it well?
It's something that can be considered. My only drawback is, how do you really measure it? Because from on one side, I can think that this is just so amazing because I am seeing it in my little circle. And then, somebody on the other side is like, well, we never see it yet. I don't know what you're talking about. So it's really hard to measure the virality of certain things, because I think a lot of times it comes down to who you follow, the kind of audience you are a part of, whatever demographic you fall under. So it's kind of hard to measure virality, if that is even a word. But it's hard to measure that. But it's definitely something that we can think about in terms of how we could coin a category in that aspect. Just like how we had a virtual series of the year, virtual events of the year, which encouraged persons to continue doing things online if it is that they know they have their market.
Right.
So it's something we can consider, but I will say it with caution that it's hard to measure.
Right. Well, I mean, you don't necessarily have to offer a prize to be able to mention somebody who has done well.
Oh, yeah, man, definitely.
So for sure, but I like where you're going with that, and really encouraging them to use it, because it does benefit the kind of push that your career or your ministry could get if you use that.
Definitely.
So, but more, you're saying you expect more from the established artists, you expect more from the up and coming artists, and you're looking forward to what things people will do differently. So am I. I'm looking forward to that. And with that, I will say thank you for taking the time, lady, to when is the Sterling Gospel Music Award for 2023? Do you already have the date?
What a way you're getting an exclusive today. So the 2023, God willing, we'll have our 7th staging on October 7th. So it's Sterling 7 on October 7, and you heard it first
right here on Engage. Come on. Sterling 7, October 7.
October 7.
Oh, you didn't want to do July 7. That's too soon in the year. 7.
And because we just had it in October. And if you realize, I don't know if you realize, but on the international scene, award season has shifted to down into the end of the year.
Yes, so they did. But I understand the Grammys have moved back. Somebody was saying one of those awards is moving back to its normal.
Yeah, we're not moving back just yet. Because we also have to consider sponsorship and corporate. July, the summer is full. Whole heap of things happening. And you want to also look out for the whole heap of competition, because we're really competing for the sponsorship as well.
Got it.
So, a lot of things.
Yeah, man. You have to take
October 7.
You have to take the business side of it, eh?
Yes, sir.
Here's a question, and it sounds like we're brainstorming on air. Will you have any kind of development workshop type thing as part of your are you in
my meetings?
I'm not. Maybe I should be. Maybe I should be.
You should be.
Because I think
like you're a fly on my wall.
I promise you I'm not. It's just one spirit. I think because based on some of the stuff that you're talking about, I do think that the industry could benefit from just these kind of sobering conversations that help with development. Just introduce people to different things that they can do, ways that they can work on stuff, and also sharing. This is a thing we don't do well at in a small economy, because we always believe people will teeth my things and people are in competition and so we don't share. And then if you look at places such as Silicon Valley and other places where lots of innovation come out. There's a lot of sharing that's going on
A
there.
lot
You
of
know?
sharing.
It's the very
Agreed.
opposite to what we have, and
Yeah,
yet they're
yeah.
thriving. You know, so
There are things in the pipeline. There are things
Wonderful,
in the
wonderful.
pipeline for workshops leading up to the awards. Workshops that will focus on different areas. And one of the things that I always say is we don't compete, we collaborate.
there you go.
And I feel that with collaboration, we can get
Do
so much
so
further
much more, so much
and
more.
so much more done. So yes, we have some stuff in the works. We've already started the planning for workshops leading up to the awards
awards,
that will
that's good.
definitely benefit the industry.
And I hope that they attend. And I'm available to like host a workshop if you want, or even to like the opening
Yes,
prayer.
thank you.
Opening prayer.
I will jot your name down. Thank you so
All
much,
right.
Kalando.
Okay, Basilia, thanks for taking the time, folks. That's
You're
Basilia.
welcome.
All right.
Bye, Shelly.
Bye, Bass.
Because clearly we're hanging out on the street side.
Of course we are. Have a good weekend.
Oh boy!
Bye.
So that was Basilia Banabikov talking to us about she's the founder and director of the Sterling Gospel Music Awards. We're talking about events and music of 2022. That was us looking back, and we also did a little looking forward. And you heard it here first, October 7. Sterling 7, and there are also going to be some workshops, so things are going to be a little different this year. You notice I just got myself a hosting,
You did
some
that.
hosting duties for one of these workshops. I really believe in the thing.
Shameless plug?
I think shameless plug. What am I plugging? You mean my hosting skills?
Yeah.
Now I'm just happy to if it does work out, I'd be happy to be part of it, because I think the development of that is very good. And like I said, we really need to collaborate more so that we can all benefit more. Even if, I can't see any reason for gospel artists to be competing, because all of the music can play. We have more than enough airtime. All of the music can play. Nobody needs to be competing. If they are competing, are they competing?
I think they are competing. Why wouldn't they compete?
Anyway, hopefully
they're all trying to stay on top.
What? Why?
Because it's an industry, it's a business.
Is it really a business? I don't know if they're really as a business, because no. Tell me.
So what is it?
I don't know what it is. It's a sector. I don't know if it's an industry. Business? Not necessarily. You can have a sector like the civil society sector.
Okay, isn't that sector an industry?
Not necessarily either. Industry requires some other things. Your policy, your
talking
regulation.
About gospel artists, no, musicians.
They're part of the gospel music sector, I suppose.
So how do you expect them to get money?
Well, you can still sell things in a sector. I'm just saying, to me,
if you sell something, isn't that a business?
I guess in principle.
Yeah.
But how it's being run, well, no, you can sell things and it's not really a business. Because government sell things. You go buy stuff, government services.
Government different.
It still is a place that's selling things that's not a business.
Compare government with musicians.
It's the principle of selling things and not being a business. That's where I'm going. I'm not saying it's the same thing, but it's the principle of I can sell something. It's not really a business.
So when you sell it now.
Anyway,
I'm just trying to.
We'll come back.
Understand.
I get the point you're going. You're trying to say, okay, it is an industry. I'm just saying there are so many gaps. There's so many things that are not there that I don't know if I consider it an industry.
You raised the point, and I agree. The events are all the same.
Yeah, they're all the same.
It looks,
for the most
feels, it sounds the same.
And I do think that we're just not being as creative as we could be, because I think they're just kind of I think they're kind of.
I don't go away.
They're just kind of afraid to
step out
the box
and try something
get out
new.
of the comfort zone. And if somebody has done it and it works, you figure that's what you should do. But as a society, culturally, we're kind of taught to be like that, to play it safe, and to.
Which society?
This society.
Or the gospel society?
Well, Jamaican society, culturally.
I don't think so.
We're not really. Tell me which industry that's being very innovative in this country. You look around and show me an industry that's being extremely innovative, as a people that are supposed to be full of creativity. Show me.
Well, I have to give some thought to that.
Fine.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah, we'll come back to that in a minute. I'll give you some time to think about it.
But in the meantime, this industry needs a lot of work.
Sure. So the stuff that Basile is going to do could help.
But Basile alone can't do it.
No. But many things are required. No, it's not one thing. It's everything.
Yeah.
So this is part of the everything, I think.
And stop blaming the devil for your foolish, cheap ways.
For all your carpet needs, come to the Carpet Store Limited. We do carpet cleaning, installation, custom rugs, and much more. We are the largest distributors of carpets in Jamaica. We also stock a wide variety of area rugs in different styles and sizes, such as wool, jute, and sisal, among others. Follow us on Instagram at thecarpet_store or visit us at 18 Dumbarton Avenue, Kingston 10. You can call us at 876-649-0174. The Carpet Store Limited, because you deserve the best.
Hey, my peeps, get this on the regular. Your HIV status if you consider. The least of a test once a year. Just 15 minutes says status clear. Cause it might not show up on your timeline and you learn too late, so you're out of time. A progressive future, one little, really long life, our story. You hear?
Remember, update your status in a real life. Go HIV test today.
Just 15 minutes says status clear. Really long life, our story. Real long life for say youth, coming from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Lord Keisha, you hear about the little girl who get shot in the community last week?
What do you mean?
I mean, you say things are going to get even crazy, I know, because them boy they smuggling some new gun the other day.
If me could have said something without bad man hear about my name, I would have talked with me know a long time, you know. Because for them foolishness always come back for hurt the innocent people in the community.
But you know, say, them have one program where you can actually give information to the police secretly, you know. Customs join up with Crime Stop and start one campaign named Tell Us. So people can give tips and nobody nothing know say them. Them will give out money if the reward lead to an arrest or them can find the gun them.
Boy, honestly, me kind of afraid, you know. But things can't continue, so. Me ready to tell them when me know.
You're right. We have to put a stop to it.
The Jamaica Customs Agency wants you to tell us what you know. Call Crime Stop at 311 to share information about illegal guns and other contraband coming through our borders. The Jamaica Customs Agency, country above self.
Sports Talk is back for the new year. Join us this Saturday, January 7th from 1 to 2 p.m. as we enjoy some of the best sporting moments of 2022 and our expectations for the respective sporting disciplines in 2023. So join me, Danielle Blake, and some very special guests this Saturday, January 7th from 1 to 2 p.m. for the first Sports Talk of the year, right here on Love 101, the family station.
This is your Drive Time Entertainment and Lifestyle Choice right here on the family station. Love 101. We call it Engage. Comes your way every Friday at 5:30. And today we're talking about today we're looking back and looking forward. And we're joined right now by Tamika Smith, who is, hold on a second. I need to find your thing, Tamika. Where is that? Why did I lose it?
I can introduce myself.
Well, you can, but yeah, okay, got it. I'm going to allow you to say a couple more things. Part-time psychology professor, mental health therapist, and growth mindset coach, and someone who helps Christian women to identify their false beliefs in order to get unstuck and move forward into what they're truly called to be. Journeywithtamika.com is her website. And that's Tamika with a Tameika. Journeywithtamika.com. Welcome to the show, Tamika.
Thank you for having me. Yes. I'm excited.
What else did you want to say about yourself? Because you're happy to introduce yourself. What else did you want to say?
Well, exactly that. I am also a professional aunt, and I take being an auntie very seriously.
Professional aunt.
Very on top.
You're a professional aunt. We're going to come back to that another time. Anyway, so Tamika, many people have many reasons to be fearful for about 2023, the uncertainty, but they have to carry on. And so what we want to talk about today is how do you, and I'm going to use your unstuck word, how do you become unstuck when you have to just keep going in this new year, new season? Sometimes newness is very challenging for people. Sometimes a new year represents an anniversary of something that wasn't so great. And so it becomes another part of another kind of difficulty with moving forward. But we have to. And you said you're a growth mindset coach. And so there's this thing about sometimes shifting our mindset. What kind of tips do you have to help those of us who might be struggling with becoming unstuck or gripped by fear and we don't know how to move on?
Yeah, I think that's a fair question because that's most people's this fear of leaving your comfort zone is usually what keeps people in a place where they're stuck. People either we create a false narrative about ourselves or based on what's projected on us from childhood, you begin to believe what people say about you, or you begin to believe certain things about yourself based on just a limited perspective of your experiences and your environment and so on. And so, you know, it's funny because in one of my lectures, we spoke about this idea of being fearful and how false fear is. And I asked, how many of you are afraid of flying? And a few students raised their hands, and I said, okay, how many of you with your hands up have actually been on a plane? And none of them have been on a plane. So they have this fear of flying, but has never been on the plane because the fear that they believe is that something bad is going to happen. And I think innately most people are afraid to leave their comfort zone because they think something bad is going to happen. And rightly so, because sometimes something bad does happen when you try. So I think that on the same thing on looking back in order to move forward, I've coined this phrase that the journey is forward. When you are on a journey through life, there are perspectives that you can take. You know, there's either the glass is half full or the glass is half empty, or is this pee in the glass? And so there's a heightened curiosity to what is in the glass, you know what I mean? And so when people can decide to step past their limited mindset of, oh, no, I've tried this fast before, it doesn't work, or, oh yeah, this worked once, but it won't work again. It's helpful to then ask yourself a few questions that help you to move from this place that you're so comfortable being in and begin to challenge yourself and move forward.
Okay, and so again, that's a whole mindset thing. Sometimes we need to learn how to engage that kind of mindset and thinking. And one of the challenges Christians face in particular is that we are taught that we have prayer and you know, in the scripture and the word of God and the Holy Spirit. And sometimes the application of that kind of knowledge leads us to just believe that all I need to do is pray. And sometimes that's all you need. But not all the time, or all I need to do is just believe that God will change this thing. And again, I'm saying it's so compelling because those are true things, but it doesn't change the circumstance. There are times and seasons when knowing that God will change things, knowing that you can pray, knowing that the Holy Spirit is with you, doesn't make it any easier. You still feel the pain, there's still the loss, there's still difficulty. And so how do we deal with that?
I think one of my favorite things about a relationship with God is how practical he is. You know, the word does say faith without works is dead. You know, he didn't just say who he was as the Messiah and then didn't go through with the plan that Jesus didn't just, you know, say who he was, get people to follow him and not go through with the entirety of the cup that should pass. And it's the same thing for us. One of the scriptures I hold on to that I challenge myself with is, if he said that greater works are there for me to do, then getting up every day and going to a job that I absolutely hate and then call friends to complain about it just doesn't seem like the way for me. And so you mentioned loss, and whether that is loss of a death, loss of a job, any kind of loss must be grieved. And I think for people to move forward, even when you lose a sense of yourself, right? me personally in 2022, there are moments where I had to grieve portions of myself who I actually enjoyed being, but it wasn't suitable for where God was taking me. And so I came up with a few steps I can share.
Yep.
If that's fine.
That's very fine. Let's go.
So one thing is to really stop counting yourself out before even starting. And I think that goes into what I'm saying in going through the process of grieving a version of yourself that is no longer sustainable for who you are trying to become. So when you get a deeper understanding of who you are, knowing who created you, what do I like to do? What's in my hand? What can I do with what I have? And you hone in on your core values and you don't compromise on your core identity, it helps you to really move into a space of going through the process of grief, of losing. And I'm speaking specifically to losing yourself since we're talking about the person. And as you mentioned, people say, just pray about it and, that's cool. And I've actually, as a therapist, I've seen a therapist who, every time I said something, her response was a scripture. And I'm like, okay, this is an emotional thing. And there's a time when you recognize the difference between what you're like. I'm recognizing that I'm not happy. I'm not well. I don't feel good about myself. I don't feel good about the people that I'm around. I hate my job. Life sucks. Everything seems so mundane. You can't keep telling me, well, the scripture says, I understand, but I need help. And so I took it in, to consideration for myself. I continued to seek help, but then I went on a deep dive in trying to figure out who I was. And it wasn't around the pandemic, and I lost my job. And when I went to places, they wanted you to introduce yourself. And the first thing people ask you is,
what do you do?
What do you do? And since I have nothing to say, I needed to know, who am I? Because I've been hiding behind what I do so long. And it was one of the most excruciating processes of my life, because when you find out who you are, you realize how much false identities you actually have. And which is why when people ask me what I do, I add that I love being an aunt, because it gives me so much joy. It doesn't bring me any dollars, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, that's what makes me joy. So when you're honing on what your core values are, yes, you're fearfully and wonderfully made, but do you really believe that? So there's things that are written about you. You have to really believe it. And so for me, to my core, I believe that, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And some people may mistake my confidence for arrogance, especially when I said, there are a million therapists and there's a million coaches and there's a million psychology professors, but I guarantee you, I am the best at what I do to reach the people that I need to reach. And I zero in on that because you don't want to start peeping over Jan Wall and then you comparing, Jan Grass look better than mine. Me have to find out which God no come our yard. You're fighting yourself by not, really going through the discomfort of, if I don't have a job, if I'm not doing something, who am I? And a practical way that I've found to renew my mind is to really figure out how to fight these lies with the truth and promises. So it is a tailoring with scripture, but at the same time, we co-labor with the Lord. And so I had to figure out what that is. And then you want to be able to clarify what you truly want to accomplish in life and solidify your why. I heard someone say just today, when your why is clear, your how is easy.
Your how is easy?
Yes. When your why is clear, your how is easy. When you're clear about why you're doing this, then how it's executed, it's much easier. You're less trying to work for something. At the beginning of the year, a friend of mine asked me to pray for her, that God will show her how to make money this year. And so she doesn't feel like she's going in circles again in 2022. And I said, what you need is wisdom. And when I started to build my coaching practice, I could hear the Lord say to me, get wisdom, get understanding. And I became a student of the Proverbs. I ate Proverbs day and night, all of 2022, which is filled with principles on how to live wise, and how to accumulate wealth. God is not afraid of wealth, and I don't think none of us should be as his children. As I said, when you tap into wisdom, you begin to open yourself to revelation. Revelation begins to pull you out of the comfort zone, because what's being revealed to you is things that it's like you have these aha moments. And then, I have built a course, shameless plug, that it starts in February. And at the middle of the night, when studying the Proverbs, at like 1 o'clock in the morning, God just downloaded 6 modules, 18 lessons right there. Opened my phone notes and wrote all of it in less than an hour at 1 o'clock in the morning. And so when we are really interested in going after who we are, clarifying our why, clarifying our calling, getting wisdom, I think it really helps us to develop understanding of our values, our strengths, so that we really what we want out of life becomes clear, right? And I'm a boundary babe. So when we set boundaries with people, you're creating more space for the things that actually bring you joy. So if you ask people I often ask people, what's bringing you joy today? What's bringing you joy this week? What's bringing you joy in this time in your life? And it allows people to stop and think. I even asked my doctor the other day, I'm like, you've been doing this for years, just looking at the same areas, is this bringing you joy? Sometimes people are just going through the same motions, and they don't. He actually said, I've never stopped to think about it. I've never stopped to actually think about that. So just stop to think about that. And a way to do that, again, practically, is to set SMART goals, be specific, make sure your goals are measurable, make sure your goals are achievable, they're relevant, and they're time bound. So don't just say, oh, this year I want to run the reggae marathon. Okay, I hear you, but how are you setting yourself up to run a mile each day, and then add another mile? By what time do you want to make sure that you are well equipped to run? Have you ever run a marathon before? No, but I just know that God called me to do this. Okay, who do you need to partner with? Where are you getting accountability? What that way? And going into the third thing is to commit no matter what. Commit no matter what. I started going to the gym this week, and this guy came behind me asking 100 questions. I said, you sound like one of them New Year, New Me people who go for fall off by March. And he kind of laughed. And he was like, no, I just want to know certain things. And I'm like, you just decide and you just commit if this is the process that you want to take your life. Because when you commit, you become consistent, irrespective of what's going on. And then again, tying it back into, have experienced losses before. Loss is inevitable. I've lost so many relationships from people that I genuinely love. Everybody just cannot go with you where you're going, and you cannot choose to commit to relationships with people who are holding you back from getting to the place where you need to be, and then you find yourself in the same cycle. Somebody needed to hear that, but I'm going to move on. But a big thing that I also learned last year, I got a trainer. I wanted to, as I was doing a lot of developmental things in my mind and my emotions, I got a trainer, and it was very expensive. But last year as well, I learned to invest in myself. I learned to take shots on myself. I learned to say no to places and people that does not help develop my growth. And it stung when people couldn't understand what I was doing. But I took out a loan on myself, and I spent money on that. And I got a trainer because I wanted to be trained as if I'm in the military. I wanted hyper focus. I wanted to be very, just, have the mindset like waking up at this time, doing this at this time, eating the same stuff. And his biggest thing was stay in your lane. So and what I liked about this trainer as well, which to be honest, God used as a tool to speak to me as a father. Regardless of size, age, race, whatever, whoever was in the gym, he could see everybody on whatever circuit you're on. So even if I wasn't standing properly, he would run over to me and while being with I'm like, how do you have so many eyes? But he's just so trained to do that. And then one thing he always said to me, like, if I couldn't push a certain weight, he would say, Tamika, you're stronger than you know. And I would just get it done and I would just push it. And, so I would hear him in my mind, even when I was doing things, if I'm at work or if I'm dealing with something that's hard, I would just hear him, you're stronger than you know. And that's the thing about when we decide to move forward, it's this recognition that we're actually stronger than we've believed ourselves to be based on, again, what people may have said about us or living situation or, again, limited experiences. When you say, oh, I can't do that, or them things don't work for people like me, you've counted yourself out. You've recognized something about yourself. And I love to show people that you have a different narrative that you can create when you move forward. How do you stay in your lane? How do you set these SMART goals? How do you move forward, irrespective of the loss that will come? And best believe it, the biggest loss you'll experience in 2023 is yourself. And you should.
That's pretty deep. I mean, you're getting into the deep things when we need to be closing. Oh man, but just a quick recap for me about I got clarify and commit, but there was a C before.
Yeah, so you want to not count yourself out before you even start.
Right, not count yourself out before you even start.
So this is you identifying what your core value. Who are you? Who are you at the core? And then from there, clarify your why. And then while
commit.
you clarify your why, develop an understanding of your strengths and what you really want to set SMART goals. And then you commit to whatever it is.
Awesome. We have to bring it back to talk about some more stuff and to provide some more help to our listeners. But quickly give us a sense of, so I've already said Journey with Tamika is one way that people could find you. You did kind of shamelessly plug a course, but how do people connect to be part of that?
You can connect with me on Instagram at Tamika Alexis. That's TAMEIKALEXIS. Or you can go to journeywithtamika.com. The course has not been published yet. However, what I've recognized again this year is a lot of people have a hard time hearing God in order to clarify and commit to the assignment given to them. So I have a workshop coming up in 2 weeks called Ear to Hear, where I'll be going through 3 days helping women understand the voice of God, the different ways he speaks, and be activated in how he's speaking to you right now for what he wants to share with you for 2023 and what that assignment is in the bigger picture of what he's doing. So you can go to journeywithtamika.com. That's journey with TAMEIKA.com/ear to hear and register there. And I look forward to hopefully seeing you in the course.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Tamika Smith. And I should tell you on social, it's Tamika Alexis, part-time psychology professor, mental health therapist, and growth mindset coach, who is also helping Christian women identify their false beliefs in order to get unstuck and move forward into who they are truly called to be. Thank you, Tamika, for joining us today, and we'll talk again very soon.
My pleasure.
This is where we say goodbye from another in the series, Engage, your drive time entertainment and lifestyle choice, which comes your way on Family Station every Friday at 5:30. Thanks to Shivani for all of the behind the microphone stuff. And thanks to you for listening. And obviously, we don't have no resolution or affirmation or nothing because nobody shared.
They were listening.
No one shared anything. Well, hopefully
the conversations were interesting.
Hopefully they were blessed today. And this is where we say goodbye. Take care until we meet again next week, Friday. Goodbye.
That was totally wicked!
This message will self-destruct.
You may now disengage.
101.7 101.7 Love.
Hey, my peeps, get this on the regular. Your HIV status if you consider. At least if you test once a year. Just 15 minutes and your status clear. Cause it might not show up on your timeline and you learn too late, so you're out of time. A progressive future, mandatory. Really long life, our story. You hear?
Remember, update your status in a real life. Go HIV test today.
Just 15 minutes and your status clear. Really long life, our story. Real long life was a youth coming from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Sports Talk is back for the new year. Join us this Saturday, January 7th from 1 to 2 p.m. as we enjoy some of the best sporting moments of 2022 and our expectations for the respective sporting disciplines in 2023. So join me, Danielle Blake, and some very special guests this Saturday, January 7th from 1 to 2 p.m. for the first Sports Talk of the year, right here on Love 101, the family station.
Here's an invitation for churches and community organizations. If you're hosting an event which offers free admission, tell us about it and we'll get the word out in Love FM's bulletin board. Simply email your information to bulletinboard@love101.org. Love FM's bulletin board for church and community events with free admission and certain fundraising events. Conditions apply. Listen to Bulletin Board on Love 101 Saturdays at 4:55 p.m. Love FM's Bulletin Board is on your family station, Love 101.
101.7 101.7 Love.
Shavani Blair, Fellowship Fridays. Fellowship Friday with Shavani Blair on Love 101 FM. Oh yeah, thank God it's Friday.
Well, thank you, folks. A very good evening to you. It is 6:38 on the family station, Love 101. Thank you so much for staying with Love. We do appreciate your company. I want to say hi and welcome and good evening to the folks listening on the internet at love101.org, to the folks on the FM band 101.1, 101.3, 101.5, 101.7, and